All right, welcome back to another video here in the channel, and we're continuing with the refresh, repose, and review of all the figures that I have on display so far. And this one just makes sense since we did John Wick last time. We're doing Caine from John Wick Chapter 4. And so the way you see him right now is the way I've had him posed since I got him, and a view of the box, which is gold and blue, and it's a really nice looking box. So let's go ahead and turn on the light so we can get a better view. And there we go. So as you can see here, there's Caine with his staff and handgun and wearing his glasses. So the attire he's wearing is actually towards the latter half of the movie, closer to the end, really. He's not wearing the suit that he was using when he went to Osaka. This is the attire that he was using when he did the final duel against John. So this was the same attire he used when the stair scene, the fight on the stairs, as he helped John Wick make it up to the setting to where the final duel is supposed to take place. So let's go ahead and pause the rotation, and then we'll take a closer look at the box first before we open it up, see what he comes with, and then decide how we're going to pose him. So looking at the box first, as I mentioned, it's a blue and gold motif with the dueling pistols that was used for the final duel. A silhouette of Caine, and it's a very sharp looking box, to be honest. Um, I love the gold and the glue and the blue. There you go. All right, so let's open up the box and so we can see what accessories he comes with and what pose we are gonna use with it. So one observation I have made since I got the figure, and it's really, I like how it translates from the movie to the figures. I always felt like Wick was definitely, the more quote unquote badass character, deadly, more intimidating, more serious. And Caine, I don't know, I always felt like even in the movie he used that coolness factor, And I think in the figure, the way you can pose him, it kind of translates it over to that. Like I definitely feel like Caine is the cooler figure. I think it has a lot to do with it. The figure just feels more posable, and I guess the sunglasses too. So high table. So the box he comes with is, again, just really cool. Um, Donnie Yen, I think, is just a very charismatic actor to begin with, and it just makes sense that he is, I guess, the cooler figure and character in the movie and here in 1/6 scale. Which it's not to say that John Wick isn't cool. Obviously, he is, but I think when you think of the word to describe Wick, it's badass would be the at the forefront more than him being cool. Um, I do wish the attire he gave him was the suit, but I understand since Wick already comes in the suit, they don't want to produce two figures that come in the suit, which I guess in the end, that does, that makes sense. So here are his accessories he comes with. Um, so you got an array of hands, a hatchet, two pistols plus that one, so three pistols in total. The sword that comes out of his cane, the two ring are the doorbell sensors that he attaches in that scene, and the dueling pistols, and he also comes with coins. So, just comparing what he comes with versus what Wick comes with, I think his accessories actually make more sense. I felt like the Wick figure, the bow and arrow are cool, the katana is cool, but I feel like those were misplaced accessories or what have you. If I were to say one thing that I wish Caine came with, I wish he came with like a bowl of noodles um, from that scene, the kitchen scene. While you might say that, this is the wrong attire for that, he never used these doorbell sensors either while wearing this attire. He he only used that in the kitchen scene, and he was wearing that suit and tie for that. So let's go ahead and figure out what pose we're going to give him. Again, I won't be using the dueling pistols because I'm going to save that for when I do a pose with him and Wick together. And just, at first glance, like, I like that he comes with three pistols, but at the same time, he can't dual wield them. He always had his cane handy with him. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to pose him. Let's switch out the accessories he's using, and then we will go from there. Before I do move on, let us. There we go. I took out the sunglasses so you can get a closer look at his face. And you can see the eyes are accurate to how he looked in the movie, which is really, really, really cool. Um, and the likeness to Donnie Yen is just outstanding. So, yeah, it's a really good looking figure. Um, he doesn't have moving eyes, which makes sense, seeing as he wears his sunglasses most of the time. I think he took off his glasses maybe like for like one or two scenes. Um, Fun fact is the sunglasses he wears, apparently it's his own brand. Um, so that's pretty cool. All right, so we will repose him and go from there. All right, so this one is a quick, without even changing his accessories, just changing up his pose a little bit. Um, so a little bit of a dynamic pose with his cane in the background. So one thing that he was adept at in the entire movie was, dodging attacks and returning fire at the same time. So this reflects that. So this one actually looks really cool. Um, it's almost Matrixy, to be honest. But yeah, um, like I said, I think the word that will keep popping up during this video is going to be cool. Um, this figure is just really cool to me. So yeah, let's change out the accessories and see what else we can do with them. But I don't know. I think it's gonna be at the end of the day, it's gonna come down between him holding a pistol or him holding the blade from his cane. But all right, let us go with the next pose. All right, so for the next pose, we have him removing the blade from his cane. Um, so a very dynamic pose. Um, Again, the posability of this figure is just really, really awesome. The fabric isn't as tight as Wick's, and since he has short hair, the neck is a lot easier to articulate. Um, and yeah, it's so this pose essentially, I don't think it's even movie accurate. The reason I pose him like this is I don't know if you guys have played Devil May Cry. This is something Virgil does a lot. He holds the sheath in one hand and the sword in the other, and just looks ridiculously cool. Um, I this actually might be my favorite right now. Yeah, he just this pose looks really cool. Um, and tempted to actually leave him in this pose. Uh, let's make a slight adjustment, see if we make him look even better. So let's pause the video or the stand. So maybe angle his body a little more. Just a little more back. Yeah. There we go. Mm, there we go. That makes him look a little more dynamic. And what's cool is to add to the realism factor is this part actually, you can take this off from, come on, focus. Essentially, this is the butt end of the cane. As it comes around here, you'll see the little thing over there. The one thing to point out is the sword actually doesn't fit into that. So the scaling in that regard is a little off, but I don't think that much matters. Um, yeah, so this one's a really cool pose. I like it. I'm tempted to do a dual wield with the hatchet and the sword, even though again it's not movie accurate since he's blind. He does use his cane a lot, but let's give it a shot and see how that looks like. And there he is, dual wielding the blade and the hatchet. Um, this figure is really easy to work with, I gotta say. Just changing out the accessories and putting it in poses. Nothing like the head doesn't pop off just when you. The most annoying part is actually the sunglasses. That's the only part that comes off. It's easy to nudge off and it falls off. And thumbprints, yeah, fingerprints on the sunglasses is it's very susceptible to that just because there's not much surface area for you to handle it. Um, so this isn't movie accurate, but I still kind of like it, although I don't like it as much as the other one. So this is cool and all, but I don't think this is the pose I'm gonna leave him in. I still do prefer the one prior to this one. All right, and here he is with the sword out and the gun out. Um, Engaging in the front with a sword, blind firing. I mean, No pun intended, I guess. The blind firing off to the side. Maybe he heard the doorbell go off and he's firing in that direction. So, yeah, again, looking really cool. Whoa, almost dropped it. So maybe he had it off over here. Here's the doorbell and start shooting. Um, yeah, this is also not bad, but I still think I prefer the other one. I'm tempted to pose him with just two fisted hands, but I think I will leave that if to I will leave that pose to when he's when I have him next to John Wick. Maybe he's like punching him or something. But he very rarely ever engages without his cane in his hand. The one time he was punching a guy, he wedged in the cane between the guy's legs and started wailing on him. So, but yeah, I really happy with this figure. To be honest, in some ways, I prefer this to the John Wick figure. Um, and definitely in fun factor wise, I think this is a lot more fun than Wick. It's a lot easier to pose, and the accessories make more sense. Um, I wish he had less guns and he had a bowl of noodles again, but that's just me. Because that was one of the that scene was really funny when the guard for the Marquise came in and he yelled for the blind man to do his job, and he was there in the corner eating a bowl of noodles as everyone was fighting. So I wish that was an accessory that was included. So reduce it to one gun and the dueling pistol and a bowl of noodles. But let me put him in the pose that I'm gonna have him in my display, and we'll give him his grades. All right. So this will be the final pose I will be leaving my figure in, and I really like this pose. Again, not movie accurate, but more Devil May Cry accurate, if anything. Um, this pose is from Virgil, one of my favorite characters in the video game world. Um, so I'll be leaving him in this pose in the meantime. So as far as the score for the look, it's a 10 out of 10. I don't have a single complaint. I think it looks exactly like Donnie Yen. The eyes look amazing. The glasses, the attire. If you're gonna nitpick on anything, you're gonna say it's you wish that he was in the suit attire. But I think this was a good. This was the right call, just because Wick already comes in a suit, so you don't want to be just to eliminate that redundancy. Accessories wise, I'd give them a 9.5. The doorbells make sense, although it's really hard to pose it unless you have a diorama display and you can show him kind of attaching it to the wall. That's really the only time you ever see him interact with it. Uh, the dueling pistols, the hatchet, yeah, and the cane and everything. It's all the accessories for him make sense. Like I said, I wish he had two less pistols and instead give him the bowl of noodles. I know maybe that's a little too comical and it'll take away from the quote unquote seriousness of the figure, but in my opinion, I think this figure or his character in general just oozes that cool factor, and the bowl of noodles sort of just pushed it over the top. Um, and fun factor, I think this is a 10. I've had a lot of fun with this figure. The posabilities, awesome. The figure is really easy to work with. Um, It's the fabric and everything. It's nothing's too tight. It's and the neck doesn't pop off. Like I said, the only thing that hurts it or makes it tough to pose could be the sunglasses falling off, but it is what it is. It's awesome that you can take him off to begin with and show his blind eyes. So, all in all, I highly recommend this figure, especially if you're a John Wick fan, especially if you have John Wick. Um, and in some regards, I think it's okay to if you just buy this figure by itself. If you're a fan of Donnie Yen, and this figure in general is just really awesome to pose with. It's so good that this is actually making me want to try to pick up a Virgil figure. So, and I think Asmus is the one that makes those. Yeah, but anyway, I think this figure is outstanding. It wasn't in my top 5 that I picked up in 2024, although judging by the scores, it probably should have been. But I think he just loses out on characters that I guess I'm more of a fan of. But yeah, this figure is outstanding, and I think he's pretty easy to pick up, and his price isn't too inflated. Um, so I'd say if you're just starting your collection, this would be a good one to pick up and start with. Otherwise, if you have an existing collection, I think this has a place, regardless if you have a John Wick or not. So anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what pose you saw that you liked, or if you have any suggestion for a pose for me to leave them in. And remember to always enjoy what you collect and to collect what you enjoy. Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.